Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the game starts.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of BLEAV in Bills, and we got a lot to celebrate. Back to the top of the AFC East for the Buffalo Bills. A lot of other AFC teams not looking too hot. We'll jump into it a little bit more. But first, I'm Justice Radford, of course, and that is the legend in two games. Coach Muki Hawkins in the building as always. How you doing, Coach? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. It's Tuesday, as they would say in London, I guess. So yeah, I'm doing good.
All right, man. Perfect. Let's go ahead and jump into it then. Of course, the Buffalo Bills are coming off of game of the week, right? Most anticipated game of the season, probably up to this point. Versus the red hot Miami Dolphins. They coming off scoring 70. They laid a 70 piece on the Denver Broncos. And, a lot of people thought that this was just like what it was. Like, you know what I mean? This is just what you're going to see from the Dolphins this year. 40, 50 plus points a game, all this other stuff. But, it's like an immovable object running into an unstoppable force, right? Because the Bills defense coming into this week was number 2 in the league in most statistical categories, whether that was points per game, yards per game, etc. Coming in, ton of sacks, right? Great defense, most interceptions in the NFL. Just overall, all 3 units, linebackers and secondary, are playing phenomenal football right now. And the Buffalo Bills got the edge. First of all, the offense went absolutely crazy, but we're going to talk about that in a second. Let's go defense first, right? They held the red hot Dolphins to 20 points. And I believe the Dolphins had like all 20 in the first half because they scored 14 in the first quarter. And then they scored another touchdown after that, missed a 2-point conversion, and that was it for the scoring. What was your thought about the defense overall and how they are up to the task out of the Miami Dolphins?
Well, I mean, styles always make fights, right? But they never really gave it that kind of narrative. I mean, give Miami credit, yeah. Scoring 70 points is basically unheard of. So, yeah, I'm seeing it or whatever the case may be. Yeah, but so, what about the Bills, having 9 sacks, creating 5 turnovers and a pick 6 the same week? Nobody really never gave it that narrative about how good the Bills defense were that week and how good they are this year under, Coach McDermott's play calling. They just lauded the 70 points by Miami. So, deep down, I knew that, it gave them some little gas droplets to fuel the fire, if you will, to say that, to have an edge. But it was a lot of things. It was a lot of incentive things for this Bill defense to get after. One, shutting down the run because hey, Miami did run the ball on them last year quite well. So that was one thing. You got to make that team one dimensional. Two, basically was getting after Tua. Tua hasn't really been sacked at all this season, other than Judon sacking him. So 1 out of 3 games this guy's really been touched. A defense, right now that's getting after you without the services of Von Miller right now. So those were 2 things that to me that I knew that was going to be deciding factors on why the Bills are going to win, but win pretty soundly too.
Was a very, very solid win. And you're absolutely right. Miami Dolphins were able to keep defenders off of Tua all season. They were also able to keep the ball out of the defensive hands. Not very many turnovers to start the season. It was all quick draws, right? You motion out the inside guy to the outside. You get Tyreek Hill running pre-snap so that you can't get your hands on them at the line, and it was working like a charm. It was even working against us, for those first two drives. They drove right up and down the field and did what they had to do. To me, it changed once their lineman, I think it was Armstead, got injured and he went out. That definitely was a factor. And then also they stopped having Tyreek Hill, run pre-snap. And that's when you saw the Dane Jacksons and Teron Johnson, et cetera, able to get their hands on him at the line. And I feel like that slowed down their offense a little bit. But I mean, coach, like me and you were huge Leslie Frazier fans, still are. But this new version of the defense has a little bit more oomph to it, right? They're blitzing a lot more. They're getting to the quarterback. The defensive line looks absolutely phenomenal. You see a lot of guys blitzing, rushing. Just talk about the new attitude that this defense has. I mean, you got your linebackers flying around. Two best linebackers in the league this season, really. If not two, then they're both top five. And secondary looks good as well. We'll get to the unfortunate news in the secondary. But just talk about the new attitude that this defense has, and to be able to go up against a juggernaut like the Dolphins offense and shut them down, basically.
Well, they finally got their good mix. They've been mixing this defensive front up, since Coach McDermott's been here, and it just quite haven't really shaken out, you know, um, majority of the time. Um, but it seems like this year, in its seventh, eighth year, that it could come to fruition because of that continuity. Plus, you're bringing in the right A+ players to go along with the players that you've developed over a long period of time. When you look at this roster, especially in the defensive side of it, um, hell, you got Rousseau, who's in his third year. You drafted that guy. You got Epineza, who's in his fourth year. You drafted that guy. You got Shaq Lawson, who's in his sixth year. You drafted him. He left, came back. All right. You got Jordan Phillips, that's been in your system now for what? Three out of the past 4 years. You got Ed Oliver, who's in his fourth year. This is all he knows. Now that's what six guys I just named on the defensive side of the ball. And now you bring in A+ players like a Von Miller, a Leonard Floyd to compensate with that. Then Daquan Jones is in his second year, how he's providing a much more profound role within the defense. And let's not forget about Poona Ford and Tim Settle, right? So those are a lot of dogs that Coach McDermott has up front that he can rotate any combination and won't miss a beat up front. And you know, hell, again, Von Miller is not even, out there. But when you blend in those guys that's been in your system for a long period of time, and then you go ahead and add A+ stars, as specialists like Von Miller and Leonard Floyd, that just makes it all better. And then you see the play out of Terrell Bernard because he's easy. It's easier for him to quickly diagnose because the havoc that those guys is causing up front is keeping him clean, and he can be able to sniff out plays and go make them. And we already know what Matt Milano's doing out there. So yeah, it's finally come with fruition with the scheme, and with Coach McDermott playing a little bit more aggressive. You're seeing some greater results out of this defensive team, and rightfully so because your back end is the more veteran group. So hey, it gives them a chance. You trust those guys, to back up anything that happens on the front end. Those guys are all pro back there. So it's kind of like a good thing that Coach McDermott got going on. When I asked him about it, he wouldn't really dive into detail because right now we're really looking at a real special unit in this Bills defense. And I guess they're going to start talking about them in a couple of weeks after they keep putting it on display. So, yeah, you're looking at something pretty special here. And we all know special defense is what that leads to. So they not, they're not getting too high and they're not getting too low with it. They're an experienced group, and they just gonna try to kick your ass week to week at a time.
I think my favorite part about watching his defense go and reviewing it after the games and everything. It's just like you can go from player to player. Like you ask yourself, okay, who played special this week, right? And then you go, did Leonard Floyd play special? He absolutely has played special throughout the entirety of this season. Him, AJ Epinesa is playing special. Gregory Rousseau is going crazy. I said this, I tweeted this on Sunday. Gregory Rousseau for me has entered stardom. He's there now. Super stardom is next, but right now Gregory Rousseau is a star. He's one of the stars of our defense, of the team, etc. In the league, period. He's up there to me. Ed Oliver is earning his money. He's looking like a a value signing at this point. Like he ain't getting nearly enough money playing like this, right? Daquan Jones, special, playing amazing, right? Then you even got the Settles and Jordan Phillips coming in and playing great as well. Terrell Bernard, top 5 linebacker in the league this season. Matt Milano, another top 2 linebacker in the league this season. And then the secondary, Dane Jackson, Taylor Rapp playing. All these guys are doing what they're supposed to do, and they're all playing at an extremely high level. And, they played well against New York, right? Circumstances that they couldn't help really put them in bad positions, but they played well for the most part. And then they blew out Washington. Washington sucks. All right, sure, whatever. Let's go with that. They play Las Vegas. Las Vegas sucks. Sure. All right, let's go with that. But then they play the Dolphins. You can't say the Dolphins suck. No team that sucks is putting up 70 on anybody in the National Football League, right? And they still shut them down. I mean, 20 points. If you allow teams to average 20 points in this league, you're top 10 defense. And they allowed the best offense in the league up to this point to only score 20 points in 4 quarters. And then they even called off the dogs in the middle of the fourth. Like Josh came out, So just looking at them individually, it's really special to watch, honestly. It's like, wow, like we have a defense that is almost parallel with our offense in terms of just like being special and being able to take us to a potential visit to Las Vegas there in February. You look at the Dolphins and like it's not like they played badly, right? Tua was still 25 or 35 for 282 and a tutty. He also had a pick, courtesy of Micah Hyde. That's a good game. Almost 300 yards, touchdown, high percentage. He had a good game. It's just when you have Josh Allen on the other side of the ball playing top 2, top 3 games of his life, there's not really much you can do if you're anybody in the league, right? David Achan, or I'm sorry, I don't remember how they said he was supposed to say his name. Achan. He had 8 rushes for 101 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12.6 a pop. Now, that's really good. Raheem Mostert, 7 carries, 9 yards for 1.3 a pop. That is, and then 2 fumbles as well. That's where, you make your money. Not any Dolphins wide receiver going over 60 yards. That right there is a special game from a special defense, and it was fun to watch. Now let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball. Another guy who I'm ready to double him a star. I'm gonna wait though because he's a rookie, but Osiris Torrance is a baller. All right, he has changed the dynamic of this offensive line. We have a run game coach officially. I'm calling it. All right, first 3 weeks, we'll see. I'm calling it now. We have a run game. We have a consistent run game that is able to move the sticks. It's able to punch in touchdowns, coach. 1 yard to go. What are you doing? You giving it to your running back, and we have not had that for the past half decade. We finally have that now, right? To talk about that, because again, me, you, and Rue, we've been saying this for like 2-3 years now. Run the ball, and they're finally running the ball. They're doing it with effectiveness and efficiency, and that's setting up for things to make Josh's job a little bit easier. Talk about how important the run game is.
Run game is very important. Run game solves all problems, basically. You see the difference. They did have a runner back like that. Like Carlos Williams was that guy. I think he had like damn near 10 touchdowns inside the red his rookie year. You know what I mean? Shout out to my boy Carlos, you know what I mean, in the building. So it ain't been a decade quite yet, but yeah, I just think that with the way this offense is designed, and we'll get into the clips with Steph in a minute. Is Steph couldn't have been more spot on. I mean, as far as reference, so everybody still want to judge the Bills on week 1. Now here it is, week 4. Y'all still talking about week 1.
Right.
So I mean, but anybody else, they would have moved on with him. You know what I mean? So nobody's saying, "Oh, Kansas City is getting away by the hairs of their chinny chin chin." Nobody's saying that. They just, Mahomes did it again and all that. Cool, and that's cool, and that's cool. That's cool. But it's
Dude, Mahomes threw an interception, and they were just like, "Oh my god, the best quarterback in the world made a mistake." And I'm like, I can't watch this. This is insane. But, to your point, Josh and Steph went completely crazy. Best game any wide receiver, any quarterback has had this season. Maybe not wide receiver. There's been some crazy games from wide receivers so far this season, but 6 catches for 100, a buck 20, 3 touchdowns. Actually, no, I take that back. That's the best game any wide receivers had this year. The 3 tutties really, really changes things.
like, so
But
that's like every second catch is a touchdown, and it went
basically,
20 yards at
one of
least,
every 2 catches is a touchdown. Absolutely.
and with 20.
Um, it was only 104 rushing yards, which I think is important to note because it's not that we need to win games by running the ball, right? But having that threat there, having the ability to do it changes everything, right? You're in
Yeah,
that 12 personnel under center. You have to respect that I might put the ball into number 4's belly and he's going to be a problem for you. Hell, 28 is going to be a problem for you. Latavius Murray out there turning back the hands of time, right? Damian Harris might be a problem for you. He was averaging 4.8 yards a pop. So doing that allows you to be able to pass to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different receivers, right? Spread the ball around. Ooh, if Khalil Shakir would have made that catch on the goal line, man, oh my lord. Okay, all right, but great game overall by Josh and Diggs. So which clip you want to get to first, Josh or Diggs?
let's get to Josh first.
All right. Offensive player of the week, Josh Allen is not even. He's going to be the offensive player of the week.
I don't know. They got to split that. They may got to split that. Him and Diggs got to split that.
Oh, right. That's true. If it's anybody's competition, is Diggs. So, all right, let's see what Josh got to say.
Josh, 84%, 320 yards, 4 eagles, no bogeys. Just care to talk about how you and Dorsey was able to put together a great game plan today.
That was good. Yeah, I mean, Dorsey had a heck of a game plan, and our guys went out there and did it, and Stephon Diggs, taking a stop route essentially and making 2 guys miss and taking it 50, like that's huge for us. We haven't had a whole bunch of that in the first couple of weeks, but getting some rack going, getting some, Dalton and Gabe going. I still think we have more. We're going to have to learn from a lot from this tape and find ways to get better. But we left a lot out there, and we'll focus on correcting those things.
Hey, Mook, that's why you the best at what you do. 4 eagles, no bogeys. I know you like that one. 5 touchdowns for Josh, more touchdowns than incomplete passes. Okay,
That's crazy.
He did this once before the playoff game versus the Patriots.
First time he did it. Yeah, it's like the first time he did it.
Yeah, so great game from Josh Allen, but even still, as we just seen from the clip, he kept it humble. Doesn't want to get too high or too low, which is the maturity of Josh Allen that we're seeing in real time. What did you get from that response that he gave?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just a process, right? And yeah, that's just what you see. You see a maturation process in Josh Allen. Like, I guess that Jets game, they probably gave it one last try on. Let's see. Our teams are still playing this way. So, And hey, it forced him to it took him back to, the same result. You know what I mean? The same result. So, they got to get away from that out of him. Put him on the center, get the run game involved. Now when my back is turned, you don't know if I'm handing it off or I'm pulling it back into my belly, getting my head around, trying to locate my and work my progressions. This is what Josh Allen is. He is an elite game manager. I've been saying this, and I hope people don't take offense to me saying that he's not an elite passer. You know what I mean? I would rather have the elite game manager with a big arm, than just an elite passer. Reason being, Tom Brady, right? Is Tom Brady an elite passer or an elite game manager?
He's the most elite game manager of all time.
Right. So imagine Tom Brady. Imagine that. Imagine Tom Brady with a bazooka arm now. So that's what Josh Allen is. He's an elite game manager with a cannon for an arm that can make all the throws like an elite passer. That's what Josh Allen is. And once he understands that, and you're still putting up 30. You're still efficient with passing the ball. You're still putting up 300 yards. So I told you those type of games are going to come. There's going to be some games where he throws for under 300, but he's still efficient. He may have 3 scores. No interceptions. And we'll have at least 150 on the ground with no running contributions from Josh Allen himself. Anything that Josh Allen provides in the run game now is just a bonus. And, when you do decide to run him, it's wide open because, they see you handing the ball off the entire game. So it's ways to work it in, what I mean? That was just an excellent call. Pretty much the dagger, when Josh just did the quarterback draw right off tackle. Easy, untouched, right? So that's how you do that. So Dorsey is getting better. The whole team is getting better. And they humbled enough to know there's room for improvement. Don't get too high, don't get too low with it. Just take it week to week. Put the work in week to week. You get the same result.
Almost half a decade ago, Buffalo Bills traded their first round pick for a moderately known wide receiver, disgruntled wide receiver out of Minnesota. And I would say that draft pick got his value for sure, right?
Of course.
It got his value.
That
All
Diggs
right.
is the best receiver in the game right now. I don't care anybody want to debate me with that. I've been saying that. And it ain't just biased because we on a believe in Bill. He's been putting the work in. His numbers are consistent. He's durable. Can't nobody check him one-on-one. He demands a double team, and he still catches over 100 passes going through all of that shit. So,
And they
Stephon
don't even
Diggs,
force feed him the way other great wide receivers get force fed.
right.
He
Right.
has to do all that on his own, essentially. Like, they don't scheme him open or anything. He just outmaneuvers whoever's checking him. Like, he is the best wide receiver in the league to me as
But
well.
now they're
I
scheming him
fully agree.
open now, and they're scheming him open a little bit more now. So, you hear Stephon Diggs in just a minute talk about that. So if you want to play that clip now, it's a perfect segue.
We're going to talk about Josh, finding 8 targets, you with the big game. How well is Josh managing these offense the past 3 weeks?
I mean, I feel like, that our first game was a test as to how guys were going to play us and, what we were going to see on a consistent basis. And I feel like Josh kind of put a lot on his shoulders, put a lot on himself. And, it's just a week-to-week league. Like I said, I feel like the team that we played is a great team. They do a lot of things exceptionally well. They got some great players and a great coach. I feel like each week is different. And as you see Josh Allen, he adapts, he grows, And I feel like as a receiver, watching him and seeing him out there in action, I'm up close and personal. I see his emotions, I see his plays, and he's a quarterback that you want to play with. He's a quarterback that gives you that energy, gives you that belief, and he's a foot on the gas kind of guy. Like, he's never done it till the whistle blows. So for me, it's just something exciting. Like, as we find ourselves as an offensive unit, I feel like we just keep lining and we just keep grinding, and we'll be in the right spot. We got some dogs. So I would say they have players, but they dogs as well, and it's starting at that quarterback position.
Real rap.
I don't know, Coach. He don't seem like you want to be in Buffalo to me. I don't know, man.
Yeah. You trade me now.
You seem unhappy to me. I don't know, man. I don't know. But again, 6 receptions, 120 yards, 3 tutties. 3 of them things, man. That's just a great all around performance from, a guy who, when you need him, he's there, right? Even when you don't need him, he's there. He just is so consistent. He doesn't drop passes. He is a leader. He brings the energy. Stephon Diggs is everything you would want out of your star wide receiver, honestly. And it meshes, excuse me, so well with Josh Allen and his temperament. Because we know Josh can get there, that high energy, jumping over people, running over linebackers. He can get there. And so for a guy like Stephon Diggs, where their energies come together, it's it's really special to watch, honestly. All right, let's go ahead and get into this last clip before we look forward to the Jags.
So kind of talk about looking good. How much of a good look did y'all see this offense out there with those big strong drives? Kept you guys fresh out there all day.
Oh God, we knew those guys were gonna do that. We knew those guys were gonna come out. I was talking to one of my teammates. I forgot who. I said, man, what? Josh gonna come out and have 3 or 4 touchdowns, which I think I was right? I think I might right. I called that as my meditation throughout the week. I had called it out the week. So you're gonna have 3 or 4 touchdowns, but I mean, offense looked great. We all played complementary football, special teams too. It was just a great overall team win.
It's a pleasure talking to my man Crane in the locker room. You know what I mean? He got a lot to say. But again,
that's a nice little graphic too. I like that.
Thank you. Shout out to Power 96.5. 26 hertz, all that good stuff. I was exclusive too. I got the shirt on today. Rebel.
Absolutely. Great again. I'm so happy. Like, I'm over here smiling. Like, it feels good to have Jordan Phillips and Shaq Lawson back, into the fold. It just feels like this is where they belong. You know what I mean? And hey, I remember who was that? I believe it was Jordan Phillips when he first came back, and you asked him, how does it feel to be back home? And that's exactly what he categorized it as. He said, you said it best. It's coming back home. And this is where they belong, to be honest. And it's good. It feels good to see them be involved in something special, because they're both really, really good players who are very much unsung heroes for us. So, for them to be, in that mix, it feels really good. So Buffalo Bills blow out the Miami Dolphins, the red hot Miami Dolphins, 48-20. And now sit ahead the top of the AFC East by 2 games as a way of a win over the Dolphins. And they look to be the best team in the league. The Chiefs really got bailed out by the referees and to beat the Jets. The Bengals are awful at this point. Ravens don't look too hot either. It's not really many AFC teams that are looking as strong as we anticipated that they will look. Another AFC team that doesn't look as strong as we anticipated that they would look is the Jacksonville Jaguars. A lot of people thought that they would run away with the AFC South. A lot of people thought that Trevor Lawrence would step into his greatness as a top 3 quarterback this season, whatever the case may be. Not quite so far, but it's early. We're only approaching week 5. What do you think about the Jacksonville Jaguars, what they have to offer?
Well, some people had them going to the Super Bowl. I guess they took the Bills' spot, on being that Super Bowl favorite in a few people's eyes. I can't say a lot, but I was kind of surprised to see people put Jacksonville as the Super Bowl contender, this early. But hey, to each his own with that. They do have enough firepower where, if they get to clicking, it could be a long day. I mean, they do have weapons. You got Evan Ingram out there. You got Christian Kirk. You got Zay Jones. You got Calvin Ridley now. And you got Travis Etienne. So they definitely have some weapons. This is going to be a great matchup. But again, it all going to boil down to them trenches, baby. You know what I mean? Up front on that O-line and D-line. And I'm telling you now, the Bills have, man, one of the best units on both sides of the ball when it comes to playing in the trenches right now. O-line is kicking ass, and the D-line is kicking ass. So that's always the common denominator when talking about this Buffalo Bills team. You know what I mean? What's going on in the trenches? Go check out the what the PFF numbers now. You know, it's there. So, you know, Bills O line, Bills D line is kicking ass, and you know, we'll see, you know, how that's going to battle out in the trenches. I don't think that, you know, there's an offensive line that really can deal with the Bills defensive line. And by the looks of how this offense has great balance now, it's because of what's going on up front. You see, Osai, listen, Christian Wilkins was extinct. He pancaked Christian Wilkins, you know, on that 50-yard touchdown to, you know, to Stephon Diggs. Go back to that tape and see him get pancaked. I was like, yo, I asked him, so I was like, yo, man, I was like, man, you pancaked him, man? He's like, yeah. He's like, ooh, I felt him. I felt him going down. I felt him going down. You know, that was my favorite. He said that was one of his favorite blocks of the day when he felt him going down. You know what I mean?
Chris Wilkins is a bad boy. That's not easy to do.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm like, well, damn, he made him like, I forgot that he was even out there.
I don't know. Me too. Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you know, not saying that he's winning all his battles out there, but he's winning them enough where Josh Allen is clean as fuck. So that's all, you know, Bills fans really care about. So he's doing a fantastic job. You know, the O line, you got 2 new interiors, you know, but Deion is back to his Pro Bowl self, if that's never left. But, you know, let a lot of people tell her that he fell off. I didn't see that out of him last year. So, you know, so again, first, you know, they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again.
Yeah.
Gonna be real interesting to see Josh Allen versus Josh Allen again. You know, Bills got to get their lick back this week against this Jacksonville team, so they're not going to be looking at them like, oh, you know, that this is the team that lost to Houston. Houston is solid. All right, Houston make a quiet run for this playoffs. You know, you never know when C.J. Stroud is out there.
That's a dog.
Football, you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see. You know how it all shakes out, but you know the Bills are definitely seasoned in this area. A lot of teams now are going through what the Bills went through last year. You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense. You know, now that teams got book on you and teams are not going to let you do certain things, how do you do it? How you adjust? That's how you find Kansas City. Kansas City, your offense isn't that great. You know, teams, you know, it's not that great. Teams get book on you, then what? Baltimore, you know, the offense isn't that great. Teams get book on you, you know, then what? You're going to have to adjust. Look at the Cincinnati Bengals. Teams are not going to allow you to have Jamar Chase just doing whatever he's going to do. They're going to figure you out, and then what are you going to do to adjust? So, you know, the Bills went through that last year and still put up 13 wins. What are you going to do? You know, and now since the Bills gone through that phase, they know how to handle it, you know what I mean, inside the building and definitely outside the building. So, you know, especially from a media standpoint, they've been in that situation already. Way worse. You know, way worse. So right now they just floating underneath the radar, just taking it one game at a time, taking care of business. And they're doing it in Super Bowl fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. That is one thing I am staying optimistically cautious about. The offense was an absolute juggernaut at this point last season too, and of course, you know, things went the direction they did. I think that this season is a little different because we have a more reliable run game, or we've shown that we actually, you know, have the goal to run the ball, which I don't think that we showed very much of last season. And it put us in some tough situations where when we needed to run the ball, they just didn't have that in their arsenal, where, you know what I mean? But Spin in the comment section makes a great point. He says the Jags do not run too high shell. And it's going to be interesting to see if they switch up their defense, you know, when they play us, or maybe we might see them Josh Allen deep balls, you know, come back out. Either way, it'd be interesting to see. One more thing you pointed out, that it feels good to be a Bills fan and to say our trenches are strong on both sides of the ball, because 2-3 years ago, we had a great team everywhere except the trenches, right? We had amazing skill players. We had amazing secondary, great linebackers, but offensive line was weak. Defensive line was weak. and it cost us maybe a few Super Bowls. But this season seems to be a different story. They're playing phenomenal right now. But hey, set your alarm clocks this Sunday, guys. 9:30 a.m.
Right. It's like daylight
London.
going back.
You going to London?
No.
No. You ain't making a flight, man?
Stand on U.S. soil, baby.
All right.
We got a game. I got a coach. So.
All right. Okay.
London for me. We got work to do.
For sure. All right. Before we get out of here, what are you expecting from Josh Allen versus this Jaguars defense?
Well, again, another team that they played before. Obviously, it's going to be a defense coordinator, a different defense coordinator. Defense, being a basic different. Peterson wasn't the coach then. So yeah, so it's going to be different. I mean, so it's going to be another one of those battles. With two teams that two contending teams. That we'll see, down the line in the postseason. Obviously, again, some people had Jacksonville predicted as a favorite, and last year the Bills were that favorite. So it's going to be interesting to see two young gunslingers at the OK Corral up in London, duel it out. Again, if they do play that type of defense, then you may see the same game plan, you saw from in the Miami series. So, the Bills are going to run the ball now. They have no choice but to run the ball. But they're definitely going to take their shots. You see how they're using that empty and that 12 personnel. So it's going to be some mismatches all over the place. So as long as Dorsey dialed it up, as long as those guys just, stay ahead of the sticks and, they'll be fine. The defense is going to do what it's going to do.
Yeah, absolutely are. Of course, this is a different scenario completely, but the last time the Bills played the Jaguars was not fun. The Jaguars put up quite a fight and ended up winning that game.
Got to get their lick back.
Yeah, exactly. It's a revenge game. All right, guys. Like I said, hey, set your alarm clock. Got another great showdown between AFC contenders, except it's going to be in London this time. All right, so 9:30 a.m. We'll see you guys later. Coach, you want to send us out?
Bet Online is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports contests and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Now, find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. Bet Online continues to be the top online resource for all sports information, from live in-game betting props and futures. Head to Bet Online today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Now, use our promo code BLEAV50 to receive your 50%. Welcome your bonus on your first deposit. Now, Bet Online is where the